This country keeps using our resources, and we are not having the right we should have. We don't decide about anything. The country is actually very rich. We have a lot of things, but we are not free to do what we want of it. I'm an artist. I actually work in a nightclub that I manage, and I'm an MC there. I hype every night, and in that time, I'm an entrepreneur, so I do different kind of businesses. I'm a business representative for some African companies. We can make it happen. It just depends of what you actually want. There's some stuff that can never be done in another countries if it's not in your own country.
Hello, Africa. You're listening to 1000 African Voices. I'm your host, Aburengwi C, coming to you from our Johannesburg studios. 1000 African Voices is a program that profiles Africans of diverse cultures who have traveled and lived across the African continent and the world. In this series, we will collect and share stories from all parts of Africa. Welcome.
1000 African Voices.
Hello, Africa, and welcome to another episode of 1000 African Voices. I'm your host, Aburengwi C, and today we're joined by Mr. Swabib, who will shortly introduce himself to the listeners of 1000 African Voices. Hello, Swabib.
Hello, Africa. Hello, everyone. So my name is Swabib, Swabib. I'm from Niger, West Africa. I'm living in China, actually. I'm a student. Yeah, I'm an entrepreneur, artist. I do a lot of things.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to go into that. So we've never had a guest from Niger, so I'm quite interested to learn more about the country. So I appreciate that you currently live in China, but we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about your country, and we'll also talk about your craft, the work that you do as an entrepreneur, as a musician. We'll get into all of that. But maybe before we start, Swabib, let's talk about Niger as a country. Can you just tell our listeners about your country of birth? So anyone who's never heard of Niger or has never been to Niger, how do you describe your country?
I describe my country, Niger, as a peaceful country. Like, we have about 20 million population. Niger is in the west. I don't want to repeat myself. Niger is known actually about the putsch that have been happening there, the political issues, all those kind of things. After that, Niger is like, we speak French in Niger, so you can feel it in my English. My English is not that great. Niger is a nice country, known actually also about his poverty. We don't have any big thing like that makes it very famous, apart of the Sahara, the desert. And the name of our country is actually named from the lake that we have, Niger Lake. So what else should I say about Niger? Let me see. Niger is actually in a very fast way of development. The economy is going quite okay right now, better than a few years ago.
All right, yeah, thanks for that, Swabib. So, yeah, I'm aware that the country is named after, you've already talked about the Niger Lake, Niger River, which it's quite a large river in Africa. So I'm quite keen to understand, there's something that you touched on about poverty and the politics in Niger. And you mentioned that the country is known for the Sahara Desert. And what I wondered as I was reading up on the country, I wondered what are some of the factors that lead to Niger being, for lack of a better word, a poor country, relatively speaking. In your view, what are some of the reasons that Niger has struggled economically? And I know you said recently it's picking up and it's doing well, but historically, why do you think that has been the case?
The actual case, what everybody been talking about and still keep talking about is about, let me go straight, is about France. Like even after the colonization, we are colonized by France. This country keeps using our resources and we are not having the right we should have. We don't decide about anything. We don't sell our product as we would like to. The country is actually very rich. Like we have a lot of things, but we are not free to do what we want of it. So that country, like France, I'm going straight to talk about it. France is benefiting more about what we have than we people, that we Niger people. We're not getting anything. I can't say anything, but it's so less. It's so less.
Hmm.
That's actually the biggest problem that we have.
It's
We're not
such a,
free at
yeah.
all.
I wanted to say it is such a common story across Africa. And some countries have managed to get out of the situation, this colonial situation that happened just before the 19th century ended, where the African continent was colonized, but the outcome of that has been that the resources that the continent has have been mined or extracted for the benefit primarily of Europe or the West as a whole. So to hear a story in 2019 that Niger is still, it sounds like trapped in that space where the colonial power in France is still benefiting and the citizens of Niger, sounds to me, listening to what you're saying, seem to be the people that are suffering. So that is quite a sad story. How did you end up in China, Shabib? I'm wondering if it's linked to that in any way. How did you end up moving from Niger to China?
Okay, so I came in China in 2012, 7 years ago. I actually left. I started the university my first year in our university, the biggest one, UAM, Abdul Mumuni. I started to study law. And after my first year, I wasn't feeling okay. I don't like the way they teach. I don't feel like they are teaching me what I really want. I don't feel like I have a lot of options. So I was there thinking about finding another way. It doesn't mean to really leave the country, but I've been trying other ways, but I couldn't find. I couldn't feel myself. I was feeling limited. I couldn't do what I feel like I can do actually in the country because we don't have the resources that we need for some kind of things that I would like to do to become. It was quite difficult for someone who came from, I can't say very poor family, but a family that doesn't have that money to help to achieve some dreams, some goals. So actually think about moving to Europe, USA, or China. So I end up in China because I love doing business, and by then and still, for me, China was the best way, was best place actually. The economy was growing, still growing very, very, very fast, faster than anywhere else. And I love the way Chinese people do business actually. So I end up here, and I'm still here.
And how was it for you in terms of settling in China? So you moved from, you say you speak French in Niger, then you moved to China. How was that for you, sort of socially, to move from speaking one language and to then find yourself in a very large country that speaks primarily Chinese or Mandarin? How did you settle, and are you now fluent in Mandarin?
Yeah, I'm fluent in Mandarin. The first year I got here, I started to learn Chinese first, the Mandarin. I started like 2 years before I continued my major in Chinese economy and business. It was not that difficult for me because I'm someone who likes to learn languages. I love languages, like the way I'm speaking English because I love it. It was the same for me when I was learning Chinese. So when you like something and when you're doing it, it goes faster. Yeah, the first days wasn't that easy to come. You don't have a family here, maybe just some acquaintances. It wasn't easy at all, but the determination, I know what I want. I know what I came for. So I was ready in my head even before I got here. So I can say everything was okay. Beside the up and downs, it was okay.
Let's talk a bit about what you do now. So, just to cover some of the things that you are able to do from China. So, on a day-to-day basis, Swabib, what is it that you do? How do you keep yourself busy?
I'm an artist and I actually work in a club, in a nightclub that I manage, and I'm an MC there. I hype every night. I actually chose that job because it helps me in my music career. It helps me practice every day, different style of music, different style of hypering. So every day, right now, from a year, it's been already a year, I'm working in a club at night. And in that time, I'm an entrepreneur, so I do different kind of businesses. I'm a business representative for some African countries, some African companies like Ghana, Togo, and etc. Niger too. I'm quite busy. Like from the time I wake up, I'm always on my phone in that time, talking with customers, clients, and trying to find new investors for this or that. That's what I do for a living. Apart of that, I'm still going to the university when I can. I'm still a student.
And what are you studying?
International
Sorry, Swabib, you said you're studying international
business.
Business. And how did you get into the entrepreneurship world? You say you are in many ways a business liaison for, you mentioned Niger, you talked about Ghana. How did you get into that world, and is it a lucrative business for you to be the liaison for sort of between Africa and China? Do you find that the money you make from that business is sufficient sort of to keep you going?
I can't say I actually got what I want. What I'm having, the money I'm making from this business or this business are okay for me. I like it. I'm getting enough to take care of myself, my family, and having fun traveling, to help friends and help the country in some other ways. But I still didn't reach that level that I'm seeking. I still didn't reach that kind of personality I want to be, that kind of person I want to be in this world of business. So I'm still working on it. I'm still trying harder and harder. Business has been something that I've been doing since I was very, very young. Like since the time that you buy a phone and you go sell it to someone just to get some small profit. You do that every day. Just you feel like, yeah, this is business. From there, I fall in love with business, and that's why I'm still in it. That's what I do. That's what I like to do.
And the family that you're referring to, do you have now any family in China, or is your entire family still back in Niger?
Actually, in China, I have cousins. I have some cousins that are also here working, but we are in different cities. We used to be in one city, but I moved from there, and now I'm in next to the capital of China because of the place I'm working. So I guess I really have my family here. My family is actually in Niger, and we are separated. We are like almost everywhere in every continent. I have my big sister. She's in Germany. She's a German actually now. And I have my big brothers. My elder brother, he is in New York, in USA, and he's also American. I'm here, and we are in some other countries in Africa. I have a quite big family. We are like 9 in my family, brothers and sisters.
Okay, so The people that you've mentioned that are dispersed or spread across the globe, is that something that is common in Niger, or is it just something that is unique to your family? Is it common, I suppose, is what I'm asking, for Nigerians to move across or out of the country? Are there people that are comfortable being in Niger, or are people always looking for opportunities to leave the country and find opportunities elsewhere?
I can say I think like 2 out of 3 person in Niger would like to be traveling or would like to be somewhere else, to even if it's for a visit or just to move to somewhere else. So that doesn't mean a lot of people are gone or are going actually, because it's not that easy to leave his country and go for an adventure. So I can confirm, I can say like, yeah, Niger people like to leave, but I know that in their head and in many, from my experience, many would like to go because it's not that easy in the country sometimes, if I can say all time. Actually, myself, I can say my family, we are like, I'm from the tribe that we call Fulani. And we Fulani, is in our blood. We love moving, we love traveling around. So maybe that's what got us traveling, moving to there and here.
Okay, so you from the Fulani or Fulani tribe. I'm wondering, as I'm listening to you, Swabib, I'm wondering how many languages you speak. So you've mentioned French, you now talking to us in English, you speak Mandarin. How many languages in total can you speak?
Apart of those 3 that you just mentioned, I speak 2 other languages from Niger. One is Zarma that I speak very well. The second one is Hausa. My Hausa is not that good, but yeah, I understand it good. But for me to speak it is not that easy. It's not that fluent because it's been a while since I'm not in the country, I don't really use it. I learned some Spanish. I mean, I'm still learning. Sometimes when I got time to study Spanish, I do it because I like, as I told you earlier, I love languages. I like to speak as many as I can.
Do you go back to Niger? You say you've been in China for 7 years. In that time, have you been able to travel back to Niger? Have you gone home?
Yeah. I go home like every year, and sometimes when I have some like business to do or just something important to do, I'll go like 5 times or 6. It really depends. I go very often.
Do you ever find yourself missing home and wishing that you could be a successful business person or an entrepreneur in Niger instead of China, or does it not matter to you where you are in the world?
Sometimes I do miss Niger. I miss my family every day. But me, I'm actually used to be outside. So that means wherever I am, I feel like I'm home. But you're never really home if it's not really your home. Like if you're not in Niger, you can say like you're really at home. But the feeling that I have is like, yeah, I feel comfortable being where I am. And I try to get used to the place I am and live like I was at home. I actually would like to be a successful man. I like to be the most successful businessman in Niger, the most successful in Niger and the whole Africa, but beginning from Niger. But it doesn't matter for me to be known or to success whether it's in Niger or in another place. For me, the most important is to succeed.
Yeah, it's quite interesting with Niger. You mentioned that, I think you said the population is about 20 million people, but in terms of size, geographically speaking, Niger is quite a large country, much bigger than Nigeria.
Yeah.
As much as Nigeria has about 180 million people, you only have 20 million in Niger, but Niger is a larger country
Yeah, I'm like
than Nigeria.
1,277,000.
You're referring to?
I said, yeah, Niger is quite big, very big actually, about 1,277,277 or something like that, thousand.
Oh, yes, it is quite large. I mean, it's bigger than Mali, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria. And yet the countries that I've mentioned tend to be better known than Niger, and maybe some of that reason is the politics, sport. So when you talk about sport in West Africa, you always think of Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, Nigeria, Cameroon. Surely in Niger, there must be talented sports persons as well, and I'm referring specifically to football. It's a fair assumption to make that if Algeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Nigeria are good in football, the people in Niger must also be just as good, but maybe the political makeup or the political setup in Niger is not conducive for such things. I don't know. I'm speculating sort of based on what I was reading as well as what you are saying.
We have very, very talented persons, footballers in Niger. Like many, I'm actually very friends to many of them. That many of football players that are in the national teams, senior and junior too, as well. I know many of them that individually they are really good. Even sometimes in team, they are good. But nobody can explain until now why exactly it doesn't work. It used to be about the conditions that are not good, like they are not being taken very care. Maybe the government doesn't take really care of them. They're not in the condition that they need to be, so that they can really focus on what they're doing. But recently, from my experience, from what I see, the government is started to take care of them, but still we are not moving forward.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah, we're still not moving forward. So I used to ask that question to some of my friends that are playing actually in Europe that are good. You know, like they're in some big teams in Europe, but when they come back in the national team, they don't win. We are not even qualified to African Cup or what, you know. But no one can really explain that. But from my point of view, my personal point of view, I can say is maybe because they don't have enough money. They're not being being paid the money they need to be paid. Because when you're an athlete, you need to be in very good conditions. You don't need to be thinking of what will I do to feed my family tomorrow? What will I do to buy new shoes? This and that. So for me, it must be about money, about that condition. Because whenever you are having a stable life and you are doing what you like to do, your work, that is being an athlete, playing soccer or basketball, whatever, you'll be more focused if you don't have to worry about how to take care of your family. Because you can be spending time running and practicing while your family is starving. So if the national team is not giving you a good salary to help your family to not be here thinking about all these stresses, it will never be easy for you to focus on the field or to improve your skills and have time to be with the other players all the time to think about a different way to come up with an ideas to win more. Because your spirit, your mind is not in one place. So that's quite difficult for me. That's what I feel. Because I know many of them that are very good, but they are still struggling. They are still, even when they are trying to get a contract with a club in Europe, it becomes like very, very difficult for them. Not because they are not good, just because they are from Niger, and Niger is not known that much about football, and they don't have enough videos to prove how good they are actually. And all that is about money and the condition that they're living.
Yeah, I totally agree. As I was saying, there's no way that a country as large as Niger can be much worse than its neighbors. It goes without saying that, I mean, as much as there's a border between Mali and Niger, those are West Africans, the same kind of people.
West African.
Yeah. So, Swabib, I'm wondering, we're going to talk a bit about food. And I have to ask a question on food. And I'm not going to ask about Nigerian food, but I'm wondering what an African man eats in China. So you've been there for 7 years. Have you totally now adopted the Chinese diet? Or do you, when you go home, do you cook what you know, what you grew up on, your Nigerian food? What do you eat on a day-to-day basis?
On a daily basis, I eat African food actually, and I love cooking. And I live with a friend, a brother who loves cooking too. So every month, we make sure we got everything we need from Africa or some stuff that are used both in Africa and China, and we use them at home and we cook African food. But I'm actually used to Chinese food too. I love Chinese food, and I used to eat Chinese food for years because I couldn't find a way to eat African. And actually, African food here was expensive. Was expensive to find it. It's kind of hard to find an African restaurant. So you have to eat what you get, what you have. So it was Chinese food. Chinese food was like very cheap, and for a student, the kind of student I used to be, that has to hustle to go work and get some money to for the food. I have to go for Chinese food because Chinese food was good for my economic, my personal pocket.
Hmm.
So I actually became like a Chinese food lover. I love Chinese food. They have great food. But I eat more African food right now. Like it's been like 2, 3 years that I'm all up about African food because now I have the opportunity and the time to cook and stuff.
Where do you get the food from? Are they African markets or is it food that you import from Africa?
Actually, there's many ways to get it. For me, my family, my mom, she makes sure I have a friend who's coming or a way to send me food from Africa, from Niger, actually. And here also, we have some markets that you can find some stuff from Africa. Not many, but some. And there's many African who are living here, that bring foods from Africa and sell it online. We have some platforms here that you can use to sell stuff between African and African groups on in the group chats. So they will publish what they have from Africa, and you just call and order what you want. Like recently, it became very easy to get African food in China, but it depends of which city you live in actually.
And which city do you live in currently?
I live in a city called Tianjin. Tianjin is near like 35 minutes in train from the capital, Peking. And Tianjin got the biggest port, one of the biggest ports in China. It's a beautiful place, very nice. It looks like I would say, even the constructions here, the buildings, whatever they build looks like European, like Italy. Actually, they have a street called Italy Street. The place is very nice, very beautiful, very clean, very safe. Like you can walk around with no matter the amount of cash you have, you don't have to worry about anyone to take it from you or to hurt you. You know what I mean?
Wonder, I have to ask a question on sort of internet privacy and freedom. So as people like myself who are outside of China, there are times when you'll read up something about some internet blackouts where Chinese citizens or people living in China have limited access to some of the websites. Is that something that you have experienced? Are there times when you feel like your internet experience is limited by sort of the Chinese authorities? Does that happen to you?
Actually, experience it every day. I'm still going through that. Like YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, those kind of stuff, even WhatsApp, that are blocked. You can't use them without a VPN. By then, it was just more difficult than now because by then you don't have real access to VPNs to make your internet work like you want to. But now there's a lot of ways to use your internet as you like. So you don't even feel like you are blocked anymore. You just make sure that you have your subscription from the company of your choice that provide a VPN, a good VPN, and here you go.
All right, lovely. So I know, Shabib, that you've got a YouTube channel. Can you just tell our listeners about your channel? How can they subscribe, and what are some of the things that they can expect to see when they subscribe to your channel?
Okay, my channel name is Swabib, as my name, SWABIB, official. When you type it, yeah, it will appear very easily. I post my music, my own music, and sometimes music that maybe I produce for a friend or just an artist that I like. I feel I see potential in his music. If I decide to produce him, I'll post it on my channel. Those are the kinds of things that you'll see on my channels. It's all about music, different kind of music, Africans, Afrobeats, hip hop. And the channel is not that, it's very new. It's been like maybe since a year that I have it. So I'm still working on it, still working on some new music that will be released very, very soon. And I'm just trying to do it like better and better. I'm sure you guys will like it, and hopefully you guys will subscribe and be in touch with me.
No, we'll definitely subscribe. I assume, Swabib, that you are okay that on 1000 African Voices, we share some of your music with our listeners so that people can get to know Swabib, the musician, in addition to the person that we've been talking to, the entrepreneur, someone who's got this big dream of being a wealthy man in not only Niger, but someone who wants to do well across the African continent. So we will definitely share some of your music, and we will have those links on our website to your YouTube channel. There'll be someone who's listening to this, Swabib, and thinking, I'm in Africa, I may not be in Niger, but maybe I'm in some other country, Djibouti, Zimbabwe. What, in your view, does someone need to survive a place like China? What are some of the things that you need to be successful in a different country? In your case, even in a different continent. What would you say are some of the things that you believe someone needs to survive?
What I would say is, your question reminds me of an quote. It's like, it means, like, when you come to Rome, do as the Romans. You have to follow the rules. You have to be polite, respectful first, and know why you came in this country. Why not another one? Your motivations, and if you are disciplined, you'll get what you want. It might take time, but you have to follow some steps. The first thing is, believe in yourself. Don't think that, because you left your country and this country might be or looks better than yours, it's gonna be easier for you to succeed. No. It just means this country is giving you a different kind of opportunities that maybe you don't have in your own country. And those opportunities, you have to work to make them work, because opportunities doesn't come every day. So when it shows, you have to take it and work hard and harder to make it happen. Wherever you go, no matter the country, hard work is the key. You work harder and you don't give up. You do it. Sometimes you don't have to really like what you're doing, but you need to do it till the time you get that freedom to do what you actually like doing. So it means, like, what I mean is, wherever you go, in China, in Niger, in USA, you have to be the person that has received a good education first. Education, like African education, is about being polite, respectful. Wherever you are, you respect people, you respect the country, you respect the rules and the job you're doing, and you'll succeed in it. It doesn't matter if you know how to do it or not. It means how much you would like to succeed. And when you want to succeed, when you know your goals, you will learn that job and you will make it happen. So you have to stop thinking that things are easier in other countries than in our countries. We can make it happen. It just depends on what you actually want. There's some stuff that can never be done in another countries if it's not in yours, in your own country. Hard work is the key. Hard work, and you keep doing it, every day. And make sure you have a plan. Make sure you know where you want to go tomorrow, where you want to go in 1 month, in a year. Even if you didn't reach that in that time that you gave to yourself, reschedule it. Keep going, keep doing it, and you'll feel yourself comfortable, and you'll realize that you came from very, very far, and see where you're going, see where you are. That's what I gotta say.
Now, Swabib, that is the perfect place to end this conversation. I've thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. I have learned a lot more about Niger. Before we started, I didn't know much about Niger. Now I feel I know a bit more, and hopefully our listeners will have the same experience. I now understand what it means for an African to be in China and some of the qualities that you need to survive a country like China. It's been fascinating to hear that you still cook African food even though you are in Asia. It's quite fascinating to me that you can continue eating the food that you grew up eating, because the food that we eat really does make us who we are, culturally speaking. We are the food that we eat. It's really been a pleasure for me to listen to your perspective, and I want to wish you all the very best with your endeavors. I really, truly believe that you will be the success that you want to be. So I would like to once again thank you for making the time to come onto our platform, the 1000 African Voices platform, and lending your voice to our project to record and share 1,000 African voices. So from myself, Aburengwi C. Swabib, I would like to truly thank you for making the time.
Thank you for calling me. I appreciate the love. I appreciate, and hopefully we'll talk again very soon. Hi, everyone.
We'll definitely talk again soon. And to our listeners, all the music that you've been listening to, those are original tracks by Swabib. So thank you, Swabib, for making the music, and hopefully you will get new fans from the listeners of 1000 African Voices. So until next time, Kungana Africa, and take care.
You too. Thank you.
1000 African Voices.
You've been listening to 1000 African Voices. Please join us next time as we bring you yet another African voice. 1000 African Voices is produced by Aburengwi C. Sam Ganich is our sound engineer, with our head researcher Jones Maleka. The intro soundtrack for the show is by the legendary Salif Gator from his 1995 album Forlorn. The song you're listening to right now is by Chronix, and the title of the song is Legend. For more information, including the contact details of our guests, please visit us on our website www.1000africanvoices.com. You can also subscribe to our show on iTunes by searching for 1000 African Voices. We are also available on Stitcher. You can find us as well on Podbean. The only thing we ask of you is that you subscribe to our show by logging on to 1000africanvoices.com and click the subscribe button. That helps us grow. It helps us keep producing and bringing to you more African voices. Until next time, Kungana Africa, and take care.
Being an ordinary person doing what's right. Yesterday at the football game, a little girl asked me my name. She said, "Sir, I've seen you before, tell me who are you?" I said, "I am a legend that you never heard of before." I said, "I am a lion, but you never heard me roar. I am a hero that nobody celebrates, but if one person remembers my name, that means on the ocean of fame I'm an unknown sailor. I'm the percussionist playing with the whalers, the one with the shaker, the mover and shaker. My name wasn't on the front of the paper, but me not cater. Much more than the work is greater. Creation glorifies creator. So all deeds done are in the name of my maker. I am a legend that you probably never hear about. Words from the lion's mouth. I am a hero that nobody celebrates. But if one person remembers my name, give praise, that means I made a change. Story of my life, ordinary person just like you. If you take a look inside, you see the great things that people do. We're out here changing lives day and night, day in, day out. BBC don't show it, CNN don't show it. He's out.